welcome to another edition of Saturday Night 5. Full disclosure, I am recording this after watching tonight's Summerslam Night 1. So, try to record it as quick as I can. Try to edit it as quick as I can. It's easy edit. But hopefully this will come out before midnight tonight and be. But from now on, I'm thinking anything that's considered before 3 a.m. is basically still a Saturday. Because if you think about it, 3 a.m. in California is just turning into midnight. So anything before then, it's still Saturday in California before 3 a.m. You know what I'm saying? So it's still considered Saturday Night 5. Anyways, side tangent over with. You can see from the title, we're talking all things SummerSlam, and this was supposed to be an episode I did last year, but due to the untimely passing of Ozzy Osbourne, I wanted to do an Ozzy tribute instead. Fair enough. I mean, that's respectable enough. But today we're going to talk about my top 5 favorite SummerSlams ever. I gotta say, it was hard to choose. But believe it or not, the ones I did eventually choose, very interesting. Especially, I'm not gonna lie, 3 out of the 5 I picked are 3 consecutive events. Now, ranking-wise, and not necessarily in that order, and but yeah. Let me just end it right there and you'll see. So, let's get started. Let's kick it off with number 5. Number 5, SummerSlam 1997. By the way, there will be no honorable mentions this week. I know the last couple of weeks I've been doing honorable mentions, but not this week. But anyways, SummerSlam 1997, Heart and Soul. Main event being Bret Hart versus The Undertaker for the World Wrestling Federation Championship. If Bret Hart lost, he will never wrestle in the United States again. If Shawn Michaels, who was a special guest referee, interfered or was picked aside, he would not wrestle in the WWE then. Excuse me, WWF. It's WWF at the time. I'm sorry. In the US I meant. So it was big stakes at hand, and of course if Taylor lost, he lost his title. But the whole Hart Foundation, the majority of the Hart Foundation, everyone except Anvil, which I thought Anvil was going to have a match, but then that match never happened. Because I thought if he lost, he was going to shave his goatee. But that match never happened, and I can't remember who he was supposed to fight anyways. But nevertheless, or was I just thinking? I don't know. I'm almost positive. Owen, for Owen's match, if Austin lost, Owen would have to kiss Owen's ass. If Bulldog lost, he would eat a can of dog food. If Pillman lost, he had to wear a dress. So stipulations were for both sides. It wasn't just some bad outcomes for the Hart Foundation. I mean, just like, let's face it, if Austin lost, he would have to kiss Owen's ass. That's kind of in Owen's favor, I would think. But, well, and we all know what happened in that match for those that, are wrestling fans. But, nevertheless, overall, it was a solid event. I really enjoyed it. And, Bret Hart walked away with the title that night on, not to the pleasure of, much to the dismay of Shawn Michaels, where he accidentally hit Taker with a chair, thus causing Bret to win. And Michaels reluctantly counting the 3. And this is right around the time where a month before DX formed or was created, But also the opening match was even great as well. Mankind was Triple H in the steel cage. And that came after Triple H won the King of the Ring in June, and they fought all over the arena, the two of them, Mankind, and so that ended their feud. Which, by the way, then after Mankind won, Mankind did win with the elbow from the top of the cage. But he also, the Dude Love music started playing, and he started to transform into Dude Love or something. So he ended up being Dude Love for a little bit after that, I believe. Nevertheless, so it was a great match. Austin did win the Intercontinental title, but Owen unfortunately botched a pile driver and pretty much broke Austin's neck. Austin still won the match. He still won the title, but he had forfeited, of course, because he was injured. But, and he would do his revenge later at the Survivor Series 97 later that year, I believe. Or was that too soon? That was maybe. No, yeah, it had to have been just. Yeah. SummerSlam 97. Survivor Series 97. He would do his revenge. Overall, great pay-per-view. Pillman had to wear a dress because he lost to Goldust. So, and I thought, if I remember correctly, Shamrock ended up losing because of DQ, I think. But he won, but then he lost. I don't know. And he didn't have to eat the dog food. Bulldog. So I don't know. But yeah, like I said, overall, great pay-per-view. Definitely deserves a spot in my top 5. Let's go to number 4. SummerSlam 2000. SummerSlam 2000. You had the triple threat main event. Triple H, Kurt Angle, and The Rock. My God, what a match that was. The Rock retains. By the way, this was the whole thing between Triple H and Kurt Angle and Stephanie, the love triangle thing. It was a very entertaining storyline. This was also the first ever TLC match between the Hardys, the Dudleys, and the Edge and Christian, who previously that year, earlier in the year at WrestleMania, had the first ever triple threat tag team ladder match. So that evolved into tables, ladders, and chairs. You had Shane McMahon against Steve Blackman for the Hardcore Championship. Shane was the champion, I believe, if I'm not mistaken at this point. Yes, he was. And that he had the iconic fall from the SummerSlam sign after Blackman whacked him with a kendo stick, and he fell got to be 40 feet. It was a long way down, boy. It was insane. It was insane. They kept on showing the damn thing repeatedly. It was nuts. It was a great show. Definitely great show. SummerSlam. Definitely deserves to be on this list. Now, these next three have been set in stone for a long time. These are my all-time three favorite SummerSlams of all time. There's like I said, now the fourth and the fifth, I had to really think about it, to be honest with you. So, those weren't exactly set yet until a few minutes before this episode, to be honest with you. But the more I thought about it, the more we'll put that in here. But these three, I've had as my top three favorite SummerSlams since when I had my wrestling podcast, the Happy Wrestling Fan Podcast. I mentioned it there. So if you listen to that podcast back in the day, you might know what's about to come. But here is, starting with number 3. Everyone remembers their first. For me, it was SummerSlam 1990. I absolutely love SummerSlam 1990. Now the funny thing was, so here's me, little Jeffy, watching in his playroom, got the TV on, he's eating a bowl of cereal. All of a sudden, Earthquake does the splash, the squash onto Hogan, onto his chest, on the Brother Love show. I'm crying in my cereal, devastated. The Hulksters, the little did I know, it was all kayfabe, and he was just filming a movie. That's why he had to be absent for a while. I believe that was when he was filming Suburban Commando, if I'm not mistaken. But little Jeffy didn't know that at the time. Nevertheless, it was, so that match was big to me. And now, correct me if I'm wrong, but this was the only pay-per-view I recall ever having it was a shit ton of matches, and it even had a half-hour intermission. I don't recall pay-per-views ever having intermissions until that pay-per-view. I think that was the only pay-per-view that I've ever seen that had an intermission, to be honest with you. It was very wild. Also, so, Earthquake versus Hogan was a big match on this card. But then you had the main event, which was the world champion Ultimate Warrior defending his title against Rick Rude in a steel cage match. And then on the undercard, you had a tag team title match, best 2 out of 3 falls. One of my favorite 2 out of 3 falls matches of all time. I'm serious. Hart Foundation versus Demolition. I can quote the end of this match like you wouldn't, Smashes underneath the ring. Oh no, Axe is under the ring. Who's under the ring? I think it's Axe. Smash Axe! And then out come Legion of Doom, and Piper goes, "What the hell's going on? What the hell's going on?" It was incredible. That match is so good. It's so fun, so entertaining. They put on a hell of a fight, in those 3 falls. So it was a very unique tag work. It was great. It was the best. I highly enjoyed that 2 out of 3 falls. And then, of course, you were going to have Sensational Sherry fight Sweet Sapphire. Sapphire nowhere to be found. And later on in the show, we found out $1 Million Man has bought her with his money. Well, he spoiled her with all the money because, everyone's at a price for $1 million man, much to Dusty's dismay, who then loses to Macho Man by countout, I believe. Or was it? No, I think it was because, he used the purse. He had a loaded purse on, Sherry gave him a loaded purse, and then that would knock out Dusty and that match. But yeah, great SummerSlam overall. My first one. It's so funny because I remember this 1990 was like the first year I really started watching wrestling. So I'm thinking I never heard of the pay-per-view concept before. This my first ever show that I saw. We got on Coliseum Video. We didn't do the actual pay-per-view. And what happened is my dad would take his camcorder, and we had the VCR, and we rented this, the WrestleMania sets we would rent at like the video store, and he would have a blank tape, I believe. He would have the blank tape in the VCR, and then he would have the WrestleMania 6 on the camcorder in his camcorder, or vice versa. Either way, he recorded one tape to the other to so I can have my own copy of WrestleMania 6, and then we returned the regular WrestleMania. So I can't tell you how many times I've seen that WrestleMania. But anyway, so that led to SummerSlam 1990. I'm thinking it'll be on regular TV, so I usually turn it on the TV that it was on when it was going to be on, and it wasn't on there, and I got bummed. So my dad asked one of his coworkers at work if he could record it, and he did. I thought for the longest time the first match of it was the IC title match between Mr. Perfect and Texas Tornado, because that's where he started from, because he started a little late, because Dad called him a little late as it was already in production. So I missed the whole Vatos match, which I believe was Vatos against, if I'm not mistaken, Barbarian and someone else, if I'm not mistaken. Haku, maybe? Or was it the Orient Express? Nevertheless, so then later on I would get that tape, but that would be like the actual pay-per-view. And that's when I knew they had an intermission, which was weird. It's like, who has intermissions in a wrestling event? Luckily, my dad's coworker didn't tape the full intermission. He knew better to stop the tape and then record it again right as soon as it was going to come back on. So, yeah, man. I don't think I still have that tape, unfortunately, but I definitely still have WrestleMania 6 on my own personal, tape. So, but I wish I had the SummerSlam 91 too. I really like that one. But, so it's definitely on the list for pure nostalgia, but also just I enjoyed the matches on this card. I really did. Number 2. It's funny because this one was, I think, either the first or second pay-per-view we had to watch the replay for, because we missed the original broadcast because we were coming back from a trip. We were coming back from Balloon Fest in Centralia, Illinois. I remember this vividly. So we were getting home late. We missed the first, pay-per-view. We ordered the replay, saw the replay, and then after the pay-per-view, I remember sleeping, because it was still summertime. I remember sleeping over at my grandparents' house, later that night. They came later in the night and picked me up, and I slept over there. I remember that. My grandpa Tony and Grandma Rose's house. But SummerSlam 96. This is the Shawn Michaels era we're currently in, with a championship win at WrestleMania 12. And which, by the way, I was today years old when I found out the tagline for this was "Opposites Attack." Okay, whatever, sure. That's what it said on the thing, on the poster. Okay. But anyways, Shawn Michaels defended his WWF Championship against Vader. So, yeah, this was quite the battle. This is the one that Cornette was not happy with how Vader kept winning, but he won in ways that allowed him not to get the title. Like he won on a countout, he won on a disqualification, I believe. So Cornette started to kept restarting the match, and then by the third time, I think that was it. Shawn Michaels would eventually beat him. But it was crazy. Then, of course, the first ever Boiler Room Brawl happened at SummerSlam 96. And that was the two matches that stood out the most to me from this pay-per-view. And I can't think all of a sudden what else is on the show. Shit. But those are the main two matches that I remember, But it's still, it's my second favorite pay-per-view mainly because of that. Boiler Room Brawl was very unique at the time, and it was an awesome concept. I'll never forget, after watching it, I would do my own Boiler Room Brawls with my Fed. I would play. I would have two of my guys fight in my laundry room and use that as a Boiler Room Brawl. Because, there's all sorts of the water heaters in there and stuff, and you got the dryer and the water. Anyways, and the winner was to be the first one to grab the urn, which was at ringside. Like the original Boiler Room Brawl stipulation was, before they changed it to, you just pin in or you have to exit the first one to exit the room leaves, I guess, or wins. So, but nevertheless, yeah, fun memories, man, fun memories. Definitely great show. But my number one favorite SummerSlam of all time happened at Madison Square Garden. Spoiler alert. Number one. What the highway to hell? SummerSlam 1998. SummerSlam 1998. Austin, Undertaker. Main event for the WWF Championship. Hunter, Rock. IC title match. Ladder match. You had X-Pac versus Jeff Jarrett. If Jarrett lost, he lost his hair. Actually, no, it was there. It was a hair versus hair match. I believe for the European Championship, if I'm not mistaken. Or is D'Lo the European champion at this point? I can't remember. That might have been just a hair versus hair match. Which Jarrett lost. D'Lo fought someone too. I can't remember. I think D'Lo fought Val Venus, now that I think about it. Kane and Mankind fought the Outlaws for the tag team titles. Kane turned on Mankind. Outlaws won. This was Pete DX. This was the DX and Nation feud. Oh, so big at the time. They just a few weeks earlier did that infamous DX parodies the Nation skit, which kind of, today look back on it, it's like, I don't know, it's kind of, but at the time, of course, it was the most hilarious thing ever, now you look back on it, it's like, kind of cringe. But nevertheless, the Rock and Triple H feud escalated at SummerSlam 98 for sure. But in the end, you had China with the assist from China, with a low blow to Rock on the ladder. Triple H won got the gold, got the IC title. And yeah, great stuff from Hunter and Rock in this match. So, but then of course the main event, Highway to Hell, Austin and Undertaker. Man, what a great match. Like I said, very entertaining card. Edge made his debut, teaming with Sable to fight Mark Henry, and I believe, was it Jacqueline involved? Yeah, Jacqueline, because at this point, yeah, it was Mark Henry and Jacqueline, because Luna was with the Oddities at this point. So yeah, a lot of great matches in this show. And that's the 98 in general was a hot year for the pay-per-views and for WWF and all that. So that's why it's my number one favorite SummerSlam of all time. So there you have it. As you can tell, 96, 97, and 98 all made the top 5. But it was the latter of the 3 that made it to number 1. So, thank you for joining us for another edition of Saturday Night 5. Be sure to like and subscribe. And we will see you next time for another episode. What will that episode be about? I don't know. We shall see. But, yeah. See ya.